Oh, hell yeah, the Try Guys tried Broadway! Hello, darlings, and welcome to Take Care, Darling. It's me, Cara Darling, and today we're talking about the Try Guys because they tried Broadway. And just to get this out of the way, Ned sucks. Now, let's get down to business. Now, in this episode, we have Zach, Kwesi, and Keith auditioning to be in Broadway's Beetlejuice. If you're into musical theater, you'll love this episode because it allows you to see a glance of an auditioning process and also philosophies that you can use in your performance. Zach has performed before, but he says that his tactic going in is that he's not going to care, which I will reflect on later. There's also Kwesi, who has a sad story about him about to audition for something in school, and he left because he was too scared, so he's facing his fear. We then have Keith, who has a background in theater, but not in musical theater, which I have to say, it's like only having 1/3 of knowledge of this beast. The episode introduces Eric Anthony Johnson, who is the swing for Beetlejuice. A swing is an offstage performer who fills in any of the ensemble characters because they might be sick or aren't able to perform that night. I appreciate that the Try Guys is introducing a swing performer because it is a piece of the show that doesn't get a lot of credit. This makes me think of Hugh Jackman when performing in Music Man, and, this happened.
Forgive me, but I have to tell you a little something you may not know. Yes, Kathy is the understudy for Sutton Foster. She's also what's known as a swing in our business. Now, a swing covers up to 10 roles. So they all know and learn 10 roles. Kathy, when she turned up for work at 12 o'clock, could have played any of 8 roles. 8 roles. It happened to be the leading lady. Found out at 12 noon today, and at 1 o'clock, she had her very first rehearsal as Marion Haru. All of these people here, the swings, and I'm emotional because it humbles me, the courage, the brilliance, the dedication, the talent, the swings, the understudies, they are the bedrock of Broadway. And I want to
So I love to continue and appreciate the performers that we don't necessarily see or think about. Eric Anthony Johnson shares that there are 13 ensemble roles that he needs to know if any of them cannot perform. So these gentlemen will be looked at for dancing, singing, and scene work. Brooke Engen, who is the dance captain for Beetlejuice, comes in to teach the choreography they will be doing in front of the casting panel. At the piano, we have Adam Lurd, who is the music director. Brooke gives great advice when saying, hey, listen, we get it. There's a lot of anxiety when you come into audition, and if you mess up, don't give up, don't stop, just keep going and show us your personality. Chris Kukul, who is the music director, orchestrator for the show, is introduced to talk about the singing performance with the guys. He explains that the talent from Alex Brightman, don't worry, he's going to be coming into this, has this unique fold that he's able to do something distinct with his voice without damaging his vocal cords. So the guys have to find out their own way to do the voice of Beetlejuice. And I mean, they try. I'll try. Hi, I'll be your guide. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna stop because already I'm turning into a mixture of Cable Guy and Ace Ventura. Alrighty then. Oh man. I mean, you give it a try. It's a lot of fun. See, I love this section because it's about making the character your own versus trying to do what someone else brought to the table. For example, Kwesi starts asking, what if I made it R&B? What if and they're thinking, that's great. We've never seen it like that until he said, what if I slowed it down? But because it is a pitter patter rhythmic song, they're like, well, you can't slow it down. Yeah, what he's doing is making the character his own, and this is what workshopping looks like. Honestly, it's my favorite thing when you are introduced to a character and you do something that I call you play, and you mold on who is this person that you get to portray. We are now introduced to Alex Brightman. He is playing the role of Beetlejuice, and he's there to help them with their scene work. Okay, so based on the video, I believe they are auditioning for the role Adam. If I'm wrong, please correct me, put it down in the comments so I know, but that's my guess.
The only direction I'm going to give you, and we're going to start right away, is I want you to be slightly giggly and sort of titillated the entire time. You're kind of into this, even though you're a little scared, but you're still kind of into this, and maybe you're sort of slightly into me. Okay? Mm-hmm.
What we can learn here is that when someone gives you a note, it's actually a clue to get you closer to where they want the character to go.
Like this. Don't you want to get these people out of your house? Stop right there. That's all I need to see.
Something to also take away what Alex said is about making choices. There are good choices and bad choices, but there are no wrong choices. Another thing he talks about is nonverbal acting, which means if you don't have lines, it doesn't mean that you stopped reacting to what other people are saying in the scene. This reminds me of Michael Caine's acting film study. I'm just going to insert a clip here.
I was 12 years old, and who would think that someday I'd be standing here weighing up the
gist of this passage?
And he recommended major surgery.
Can I just say something? When he says, let me just sit there for a second here.
I mean, who would think that I'd be sitting in that theater aged 12 years old and that someday I would have the opportunity to be standing...
Yes, we get the gist of the... You see what I mean? I reacted to 12 years old. You know, he's saying, you know, but you saw me do it. Do it again.
I mean, there I was, sitting in that theater aged 12 years old, and who would think that someday I'd be standing here...
We get the gist of the message, Clifford. You know, now he's sitting there a bit teed off about it. Yeah. You have to cut to Frank for his reaction, otherwise what she did has no meaning. And if there's one thing that I can do in movies is react. And that's kind of where a movie actor earns his living.
So back to Alex Brightman, he gives the best advice through the whole video, so watch the entirety. He even talks about having nerves and that the best thing to do is take those nerves and use it. Now, whenever I get nervous, instead of saying, oh, I'm so nervous, I just say, I'm excited. And that's just something I do for myself, because if I use the word nervous, there's a chance of I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to show up, I don't know. But if I say to myself, because they both sort of feel the same, I say I'm excited, because that means I am going to do it. I, am trying to see the positivity and feeling like I might die. If there is an opportunity to practice, I will practice it so many times that it becomes muscle memory, and that goes for dancing, singing, and lines. But listen, auditioning is definitely a different skill to have.
I have one last tip, which is never be satisfied with what you have done. Carry your work into the room. If you find yourself that you found a finished product, that's not, in my opinion, that is not the right thing. Come in, continuously workshopping. Make the choices and have a really good time.
Words to live by. We are now introduced to the casting panel. This is where we meet Rachel Hoffman, the casting director, and Richard Naylor, the casting associate. I'm so glad that they're introducing different pieces of what goes into a show, and to me it displays how you don't have to be the star in a show in order to be a part of a great production. Also on the panel is Rachel Boddard, the production stage manager. The Try Guys didn't talk about this, but a stage manager acts as a right hand to the director, and they oversee sets, the props, lights, and sound, and they call all the technical cues during the performance. I'm telling you, when it comes to theater, it takes a whole village. Okay, I'll stop. Yeah, I know. When I went to school, they graded my voice and I always got a C minus, so I get it. Also on the panel we met before is Chris Kukl, and on the piano is Adam Lurd. So the guys are now going to audition. I just want to make a point that they have it way easier than what a normal auditioning process is. I mean, for example, there's only 3 of them, and so the choices are between the 3 of them to play one role, and it's called cattle call when people are auditioning, meaning tons of people come in to try and get the role, and this means that people on the panel might be tired, might be irritated, and instead of what the try guys get, which is they're there all day and they get to know them for hours and their personality, when you go in with tons of people, you might have 1 minute to show your personality, your skills, and then you're out the door. That's that. You know who sucks at auditioning? Me. This girl, but I do well in rehearsals. And okay, someone that I would say I feel similar to, I'm not saying I am this person, just a heads up, is Lucille Ball. She was actually known for when they would do a read through for a show that she would be awful, but due to rehearsals, and she'll take it home and she'll like workshop it, that by the time they went to record I Love Lucy, or really anything she did, spectacular, wonderful. I do believe that there are people that are great at auditioning and great at performing, and then there's people who are so good at auditioning and then that's it. That's where that character will stay, so the performance isn't so good. And then there's people who might feel like me, where they may not be the best at auditioning, but they will do the work and you'll see the character grow. Something I noticed that they didn't talk about when auditioning is what you wear. Now, I get it. All the things that I saw the guys wear is something in my head where I'm like, why would you wear that? But I mean, they knew that they were there to film. They're there all day. They wanted to wear something comfortable so they can dance, sing, and do all of that. I will say for auditions, I think men, of course, are different than women, how they present themselves and go. So with guys, in my head, I'm like, well, make sure that you wear pants, possibly, whatever. I don't know on that side. But as a female, I had a teacher that would say, as long as you have mascara and lipstick, you're good to go. And things in my head is, okay, wear a color that makes you pop, and also make sure that, especially for dance, make sure that your legs are elongated and things like that. I know it's silly, but it was something that I was like, oh, they didn't mention this, so I wanted to. I'm not gonna say which guy, but in my head I was thinking, why didn't they at least comb their hair? But again, like, their auditioning is very different than what the real world auditioning is like. Something they point out is so true. When you go to an audition, unless you did it perfectly, which it's never perfect, you're always thinking, what are they thinking on the other side? Could I have done it better? Oh, I should have done this. You're always second guessing yourself because you don't know what they're truly thinking, and you know that they're going to talk about you when you leave the room. All right, darling. So now it's our turn. We are on the casting panel. I will give my thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts as well, because we are getting into the auditions, and I will go in order of the guys' auditions. So first we have Zach. So his entrance to the room was great. His opening line about shaving is questionable, but he will be remembered as the hair dude. His dance was great in the sense that he showed personality. It wasn't perfect, but he took the note of what Brooke said, is that keep going, don't stop, and show your personality. When Zach proceeded to sing, I would say it was a one-note performance in the sense that he was over-singing and he didn't give it a lot of dimension to it. So to me, it sounded the same. I felt similar about his scene work, but his non-verbal acting was very expressive. And it's something that I would think, yes, is needed when you are doing a theater performance. By the way, remember when he said that his tactic was to go in and not care, because if he doesn't care, he'll receive the role. I do think that he did care when coming in and he was trying, but I hate that philosophy. What I would recommend is going in with something a bit more positive, something like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have fun. I mean, you're going into dance, you're going in to sing. So if you're focusing on the fun aspect of it, I find that maybe a bit better than, I don't care, we'll see. I mean, random story. So one of the directors I knew when he was auditioning, he was someone that was in New York and would do Broadway performances. So I would say he had the New York edge, but then he went to California to, to audition, and the casting panel was like, so what brings you here? And he said, I think it's quite obvious why I'm here. I guess the thing was, like, in New York, it's like ask stupid questions, get stupid answers. But then when you go to California, it is a bit more calm and chill in that aspect. It was just something that he needed to read the room. Lesson learned. Next was Kwesi, who I think had the best entrance, but he should have read the room, and it seemed that the nerves got the best of him, so he kept talking versus keeping it light and moving forward with the dance. I honestly think he has the best smile. Oh my gosh. When he's doing the dance, I'm just so jealous. Unfortunately, he did mess up the dance and he announced it to the panel. I messed up. They allowed him to do it again with an added note to be scary, and I think that he executed that note wonderfully. Okay, just added advice. If you do mess up, don't show it. Don't say it. Just keep going. Just like, oh well. Just think it's no big deal and don't make it a big deal. When it came to his singing, I wish there was a bit more diction. He was performing more to the page, and I wish he brought it out to the panel. But honestly, the fact that he's facing his fear, this is such a great redemption moment for him. Especially when it came to his scene work. He had the best non-verbal acting. His speaking voice is great. I just wish that he was able to stay in one spot. And if he did move, it made sense on why he would move place to place versus moving around with no purpose. Last, we have Keith. His entrance was very engaging and to the point. He still responded to their questions, and through answering their questions, you can see his personality. His dance and glorious big mouth of his, oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard. Something to point out is that he has the same face throughout the dance, and if you are performing, you want to change your face ever so often versus being stuck with one expression. My best, like, Keith face, like, okay, when it comes to the song, out of all the guys, he was more on pitch, which, you know, when you listen to the casting panel, they say that the role doesn't necessarily need to be a great singer. Something to learn from Keith is the dimensions that he gives within the song, whether it's loud or soft, and was able to look away from the book and really already be performing the song to the panel. When it came to his scene work, he also showed a lot of dimension. He used his speaking voice beautifully, and he usually stayed in one spot, which helps because it made me understand, like, okay, this is who he is, and also there's two other people within the scene, so he was able to directly look at who was saying what and have a great reaction to that. Overall, you can tell this man did theater, and the panel picked up on that quickly. Their episode ends with a to be continued, and we will find out who was cast to be in Beetlejuice. I would love to know, who do you think got the role? I'm about to say mine. So out of all the three, the one I would cast is Keith. I cannot wait to hear the results. Anyways, darlings, if you love musical theater, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And until next time, take care, darling.